All right, welcome back to Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I had actually recorded the Valravn section and other parts of it earlier, but
Valravn, ancestor of the seers and master of ravens.
mic didn't work.
He hunts his prey with his powers of illusion and feasts on their remains. Follow the path to Valravn and defeat him in battle to earn his mark. The gate to Helheim cannot be opened without it.
But since I had already done it, that means it shouldn't take me too long. I found all the stones of power, which I will just call them that because it's easiest. So this should hopefully go by very quickly. I'm getting better at the combat. I figured out how to guard and evade.
Ymir was a frost giant, a being of darkness, and all his sons and grandsons were dark after him. Of his daughters and granddaughters, some were monstrous, but others fair. But there was another who came from the ice. Buri. In shape, he was like a man, big and powerful. His son, Bor, took a fair giant to be his wife, and they had 3 sons. Odin was the eldest, and the Northmen hold him to be the foremost of the gods, the Old Father.
All right. So having played this, it seems like the game, despite giving you a choice to choose either Surt or Valravn to go after, it wants you to go after Valravn first and then Surt after. So I kind of did it out of order for what the game would have liked. You got another one of those. Not sure of the significance of that.
Illusion hides the path to Valravn. Don't trust your eyes. Find another way to see the truth.
What's that? It's a door. Push it. Push it. Push it. She did it. She did it.
So, it's gone.
It's funny. We all want to see behind the veil, don't we? But once we do, we mostly just close our eyes again and pretend what we saw was never really there.
As I mentioned in another video, we put one of the cats down. We still have another cat though, and she's a little lonely lately, so she's been kind of clingy to me.
Senua never could close her eyes, however hard she tried, begged. This is the price she pays for seeing things differently. Because once you gaze into the relentless darkness, all that lurks within it can see you too.
Okay, so it doesn't teach you how to do the combat, but it gets easier, so
The Northmen will not stop her.
I'll tell you in a moment.
She will find what she's looking for.
So the right R2 is focus, using focus for everything. You can focus heal when you get knocked down with R2 in circle. X is evade. L1 is a charge, is to run. R1 is to defend. And then square, triangle, and circle are kind of your attack buttons.
Valravn's power of illusion comes from ravens. Align the ravens to break his magic seal.
Show me what you have seen, Truth. Look how much it's changed.
See, even though after Cert, Druth's spirit supposedly goes to rest, he's still talking to me, and that's because you're supposed to go after Valravn first. Alright, so that was just a wall, but because we went through that little gate, the illusion opened up to us.
Something's shifted. Something's happened. Something's shifted. Can you feel it?
Do you feel it too? It's like crossing into another world that looks the same but feels different. An lost world where the forest itself is watching.
Playing this with headphones is definitely the way to go. It's just, unless you have like a really good stereo system.
Gates. You know what to do. Stay back.
Because the 3D sound is amazing.
It's safe. Don't listen to them. Listen. Don't. Open it. You can
To
do
break the seal, align the ravens with the mark of Valravn.
What does it mean? Which ravens? Where are they? Can't you see them?
You can see the eyes
Line up the ravens.
watching.
I hear something.
If you hear the soul of Valravn, follow it, and it will lead you to him. But be aware of his illusions.
Listen, focus. Focus.
winter, before the tragedy, she journeyed into the wilds of her native land, living off of berries, roots, and rabbits. It's not uncommon, you see. We call such a person a Gelt. Some, like Truth, become Gelt in search of penance. Others, like Senua, to purge a curse. Those who make it back are forever changed.
Okay, there's a stone of power over there. I have to try to remember how I got it. Because you can only get it when one illusion isn't active. Let me see if I can remember. I think it's works kind of like this. Yeah, okay, because that bridge was, it was broken. Now it's not. Alright. Now we can get across and get that.
The Northmen say that Odin and his brothers killed Ymir, and that the world of men was formed from his corpse. They made his bones into stone, and his flesh into earth, and his blood into the salt sea. They set his skull to be the bowl of the sky, with his brains for clouds. Odin and his brothers caught the sparks flying from Muspel and made them into stars. And to protect the new world from the giants, they used Ymir's great curving eyebrows as walls.
I guess Ymir's eyebrows are mountains. Okay, and now there's a step.
She can get up now. What's happening? She can get up now. How can she get up? Must be magic. Dark magic. A trick. Valravn tricking her. Valravn. How can she get up? Wait. It's him. Dark magic draws her closer. It's not. He's helping her. It's not him. It's a trick. She's doing it on her own. He's not tricking her. It's magic. It's an illusion.
Open.
picture fear, and we think of a shadow in the woods, a creature in the night. If only it were that simple. The worst kind comes without warning. A deep and primal signal from within. A reminder that just because you cannot see the threat, it doesn't mean that it's not already here.
Come on. All right. There it is. I was wondering where that one was.
The Northmen say you must sacrifice in order to receive. They tell how the runes were revealed to Odin only in sacrifice. He hung himself from the world tree, and he stabbed himself with a spear, and he dedicated a sacrifice to himself. For 9 nights he hung on the tree without food or drink, and at last he saw the runes below him. He gave a cry, and gathered them in his mind and learnt them. Then he fell from the tree.
Okay, the upcoming area is 2 of those stones.
Do you know what it's like to leave everything behind? Your home, loved ones, to head deep into the wilds, perhaps never to return. Senua does. Because when darkness speaks, it changes everything. Turning home into a foreign land and loved ones into strangers. Exile makes sense when you realize that you were never really home in the first place.
We know that her love, Dillion, died, and she's trying to revive him. Wonder what else there is to her. This is kind of an interesting game. It's a psychological action game, as opposed to a psychological horror game, as they typically are.
The song. Valravn. Valravn's song. It's over here. It's over here. Is that? It's over there. No, it's here. There's two. Listen, focus. Listen. It's magic. This reminds me of something. The forest. Where? Which forest? The forest in the wilds. The wilds. She left in. She went to the wilds a long time ago. Why did she go to the wilds? She wanted to fight her own darkness. She thought she could beat her own darkness. Did she beat her darkness? No. It nearly killed her, but she tried. Druth. Druth helped her. If it wasn't for Druth, she'd be dead. She can't beat her own darkness. She wanted to marry Dillion. She came to beat her own darkness and marry Dillion. But it didn't work. She thought her curse would affect him. She thought her curse would spread to him. She thought she'd bring the darkness to him too. She nearly died. She thought the curse made her tainted. Druth helped her.
Okay, here's one.
The Northmen say that Odin is always in search of knowledge and wisdom and magic. There was a very wise being named Mimir, who guarded the waters of wisdom which flow from the roots of the World Tree. Odin wished to drink from this spring, but he had to pay a price.
He drank from the well and traded one way of seeing for another. So by removing his eye, he was able to see other things. All right.
The ravens. They've gone. No. Half of them have gone. They've gone. Some are still there. But where? Some are still there. Valravn's helping. It's not helping. It's a trick. Quiet.
Out in the wilds, in the cold winter woods,
Where?
she no longer felt fit for this world. She almost escape into the darkness. But she remembered Dillian's words. She remembered her promise. She resolved to fight on and kill that which had become part of her.
Broken. The gate is open. Open.
There is no such thing as victory when it comes to the darkness. It's like it doesn't want to kill her. Yet, it will gnaw at her, biding its time. Only when she is at her weakest will it strike to kill. Will she find Dillian before her time comes?
I swear there are 2 of those stones in this area. Here it is. I told you there was one. I'm not crazy.
The Northmen say that Odin has 2 ravens. Their names are Thought and Memory, and each day he sends them out to fly all across the world. Upon their return, they perch on his shoulders and tell him everything they have seen and heard. In this way, he learns of things far and wide, and for this reason, he is called the Raven God. Senua, like Odin, you must seek wisdom through thought and memory if you are to succeed in the quest.
Alright, I apologize for using that word. I was starting to question myself on whether I found 2 of those stones here. I was right. Okay, now we can continue. Have to edit a lot of the wandering around. I couldn't remember exactly where it was. I'm like, I knew there were 2. I know there are 2 here. Alright. I am lost, but I have found my way. Of course, another illusion.
Overcome Valravn's final illusion to face him in his keep. I know you can do it, Senua. You have the sight.
We both see the darkness. We can fight it together.
Tulip, what you doing? Oh, honey. Okay, just so you can see, it's now an extra branch.
Speak to me, Druth. Tell me a story.
Senua, listen. I will tell you the tale of a man called Findan. The Northmen captured Findan's sister, and his father sent him to pay for her release. But they took his gold, put him in chains, and held him for a day and a night without food or water. Then they released him. I don't know why. Upon his return, his father's enemies in Erin set fire to his home. His father burnt to death, and his brother was killed. But he escaped with sorrow in his heart. His father's enemies offered redress for his loss and invited him to a feast. It was at a hall near the sea. But when he went there, they betrayed him to the Northmen, who enslaved him and took him to Hell. 6 years later, his slave masters landed on the shores of Orkney, burning all before them. And into that fire, Findan made his escape. What was Findan burnt away that day. But from the flames, a new man stepped forward, and Druth was born. Druth, the man that I am now. And though Findan never set eyes on his dear sister again, I, Druth, have found you, Senua.
I wish you could have seen my home before these dark times.
Okay, so Druth was once a man named Findan who, going out to pay for his sister's ransom, was kidnapped and tortured, and then came home to find his father and brother had died, and then was treated as a slave for 6 years, until eventually escaping. And it was then he became Druth, and Druth also suffers from the darkness similar to Senua. Touch on that a little later. But they're both alike in a way.
The gate is open.
This darkness. I know it from the wilds. It's coming back for me.
I'm still here. Are you too? Where are we? I remember. It didn't end well in the wilds. It never does. You think you can overcome the darkness, make sense of it, and once relief settles in, strikes out of nowhere, throwing you helplessly back into the maelstrom, drowning the mind in fear, deeper, deeper, dragging you down so far into the void that maybe this time there is no coming back. But there, in the darkness,
Senua,
she remembered what he told her.
hear me. Reach out to me. Senua, take my iron mirror. Look into it, for it is a window into the underworld. Within, you will see the face of the darkness that you fear. And if you focus, like I have taught you to, you will also see that as much as the darkness has you trapped within its veil, it too is trapped within yours. Focus. Focus! Focus!
I see you! I see you now! You led me to the wilds! You trapped me there!
Valravn is a lot harder than Cert.
Take him down! She's nearly there. He's down. Strike him. Slow. Focus. Focus. It's the only way. You can do this. Get up quickly. Get out. She's hurt. She's injured. I never beat you in the wilds, did I? It was an illusion. But not this time!
The Mark of Valravn. One of the keys to the gate to Helheim. Hold it in your mind's eye.
With every battle, the darkness grows stronger. Every victory bringing her closer to defeat. Unfair, isn't it? In those dark winter nights in the wilds, there were times when she considered letting go. If it weren't for Druth, A chance encounter in the wilds. She would not have heard his stories of the Northmen. And she would not have this chance to find Dillion's soul.
I'm coming. I still hear you.
When she was younger, she would lay in the grass and stare at the clouds. And there she saw them. Elusive. Shifting faces. After a while, she could see the faces everywhere. In the trees, the mountains, caves.
Sorry, I think I turned off my microphone by accident. So the music is just gorgeous. I'm loving this soundtrack I'm hearing right now. The audio is superb. It should win an award for audio. I really think it should. I know we're only halfway through the year, but it deserves it.
Can you see the faces too? They're there. If you look for them.
Okay, and that's the face she was talking about. We saw that earlier in Cert's, in the waterfall in Cert. They look like her mother, apparently.
Senua, you have this sight. Just like I do. Once you can see into the underworld. The underworld and all the souls within it will see you. Don't be afraid when they speak to you. I will always be here to guide you.
Did you see her? That was her mother, Galina. She was a priestess, a healer. She taught Senua to see the weave that binds the world together. And it was beautiful. It was a time before the darkness. But when it did come, it first came for her mother. Senua still sees her face from time to time, hidden in the world. Like she's still watching over her. She misses her so much.
So her mother was also affected by the darkness.
With the mark of Valravn and the mark of Surt, you may cross the bridge over the River of Knives to Helheim.
Alright, so we got all of the ones that we could get. And now we can go through the gates of Helheim.
Why is she waiting? Open the gate. Open the gate. No, it's dangerous. It's dangerous.